Today's topic, why does she argue in the relationship? The thing should be, why do you argue with her, period? Why do you let her argue? Because it takes two to argue. You should never, ever in your career argue with women or children, period. There should be no argument when it comes to women or children. Things should be straight up said and done. You know what I'm saying? She starts arguing, like I said in the last video, burn rubber on her. You know what I'm saying? There's never a topic that should be argued about. I don't care what it is, because when you start arguing with her, you start to show your emotions. You start to be just emotional as she is. You're not going to be able to win the argument at all. You know what I mean? Never at all. But it all starts in the beginning when she starts to holler, scream, and all of that. You need to shut that down from the gate. And how you shut that down really is you say, look here, I ain't with all that. I ain't trying to argue with you. This is what it is. It's this, and that. You set a standard of how you're talked to. Because if you don't do that, she's going to run all over you. She's going to keep running all over you, period. A lot of guys, they get into these relationships with women and they keep letting the woman talk to them any type of way they want. And that's because they don't have no self-respect. Because when she don't respect you, that's why she talk to you. She only argue with people she don't respect. You know what I'm saying? She don't argue with her boss. She don't argue with her mama. She don't argue with her pops if he around, but she gonna argue with you. You know what I mean? And it always starts, you know what I mean, late in the relationship. It's never like in the beginning. So when it starts, why don't you check it? You know what I mean? You have to check it from the door. As soon as it starts, soon as she has a problem, you talk decent with her. You can't match her energy as far as her hollering and getting out of tone. But a lot of guys, y'all don't even check the tone. Y'all let her talk to you in a way where she's out of tone. You get out of tone. You start arguing. You start building that hate up in your heart. Then you want to put hands on her. You know what I mean? She gets you to the point you want to put hands on her because you're so emotional. You know what I mean? Why does she argue with you? Because she doesn't have the respect with you. When someone starts to scream, holler, it's almost like a disrespectful thing, because especially if it's not when you're not being heard and then you scream. But if they just screaming at you for no reason, what's she screaming at you for? Because you didn't come home last night? What? She was in your phone? All of these things, anything of that nature, you could check from the door. There should be rules. There should be regulations on what's done and what's going to happen after it's done. Because if you don't have those things intact, then she's going to always be able to control the situation. And that's her controlling the situation when it's an argument. Because once you get out of tone with her, there's no turning back. She's going to always make it about you. There's a lot of times she argue with you and she's the one who was in the wrong. You know what I mean? She starts to get you out of tone because she's bringing up old stuff now. She's winning the argument because she done brought up some old stuff, got you on out of your emotions. When meanwhile, it was about her. It was always about her, but you out of line arguing back with her. There's no reason you should argue back with her. Like I keep telling you, what did she do to make you argue back? You can put in the comments, what makes somebody argue with a woman? You're getting out of tone with her, and it's going to be a problem because at the end of the day, she really doesn't care. She really doesn't care. If she's hollering and screaming, she really don't care. You can't never name one time when arguing has solved the problem. And as a man, you have to be a problem solver. And being a problem solver is solving the problem, not hollering and screaming and trying to get out of pocket with her as far as arguing is concerned. Because once you do that, you're setting yourself up for failure. She could do all that screaming she want. You leave her screaming. You leave her alone. Leave her right where she's screaming at. Check out. Leave before you start arguing. Men don't argue with women because when men argue, it gets to a point where they want to express themselves in the physical type of way. That's why men don't argue with men. So why are you arguing with a female? What you trying to control her about? Why are you trying to control her? If anything, you trying to control her, or she trying to control you. But when she trying to control you, there's no reason to argue because you might as well break camp or cut her off. You got too much problems in the streets to be arguing with some woman anyway. It's supposed to be relief over grief at all times. It can't be relief over grief if you arguing every day with her. You do so much on the streets, but you gonna come home and argue? That should never be the case. It should never be the case that you have to argue in a place of comfort. You know what I'm saying? Why you arguing? Because you ain't doing something in her house? That's another thing. Why you in her house? Why? How could she dictate the house? If she could dictate the house and argue about what's going on in the house, she's the leader of the house. So what is you doing? There's no excuse. There's never an excuse to be arguing with her, because when she starts to get to the point she want to argue with you every day, she don't have no more respect for you. She don't have no respect for you. That's when she be arguing with you, talking to dude on the phone, giggling. She argue with you, tell him, hold on. Start arguing with you, get you out of your mental peace, and now you in the mad place. You in the messed up place. You mad. You the type of dude, you argue with her, then call and whine to another female about how y'all was arguing. You sound like a sucker to anybody who you telling this to who know the game. The game is not about arguing. It's about standing firm on what you saying it in a calm way, having the execution after you say what you said, and bailing out if she continues to scream. Leave, leave, leave. Burn rubber. Like I say, she screaming, she hollering, what? You ain't pay a bill or something? Or she didn't like what you had to say about a situation that you already told her about? You got to keep telling her, so now you screaming. No, leave, burn rubber. No time to be screaming. No time to be arguing. No time to be being disrespected in a place where you don't need to be disrespected. And a lot of times that's in your home. A lot of you guys, you let females scream on you and argue. You be arguing with company around. You arguing anytime of day you arguing with her, it makes you look bad. There's no winning in the situation. The only way you can win is to evacuate, leave, burn rubber. So just like I'm saying, this has been Thinking Men's Therapy, another episode. Burn rubber on her when she want to argue with you. So that's the thing. It don't matter about her wanting to argue. It's about when you settle the argument, and you only can settle the argument one or two ways. Burning rubber, period. Those are the only two ways you could do it. And before you burn rubber, you tell why you about to burn rubber and what it is. Lay down a law and peace out on her. This has been Thinking Men's Therapy. Peace. Thinking Men's Therapy.